Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time for your Saturday night delight, your geek culture 411 with your boy, the D-Man, and my main man, Skip and Tosh. What's up, Skip?
Man, just excited to get in here and talk about some news. This day of the week is always my favorite. Get to discuss some things, some slightly controversial topics too. So I hope everybody got their popcorn and their Pepsi because we're getting ready to dig into this.
Absolutely. We got your movie industry news and your comic industry news. First topic. Details continue emerging during Johnny Depp's defamation case against Amber Heard, leaving her Aquaman sequel status in the air. Skip, should Warner Brothers replace Amber Heard or remove Mera from the next Aquaman film altogether?
You know, I thought a lot about this one, and I had some personal feelings about it, especially how Johnny Depp was portrayed earlier on in the media, and people really jumped all over him. And then as facts started coming out, which I kind of always felt like Amber Heard's position, something reeked about her whole stance in this thing. And then facts started coming out. I like to wait for the facts. And as the facts started to roll out, we saw that she wasn't quite the character that she tried to paint herself in some of those things. We saw deposition footage and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, now that we know a little bit more that she was definitely an instigator and definitely was a perpetrator in what was going on, I started to have some emotions about it. But then I started to think about some of the other things that had come up lately, cancel culture, people being canceled. And you know what? I don't feel like I would want her to be replaced in the movie. If she could show some remorse for what she's done in some way, shape, or form, I think that would only be right to the public and more than anything, especially to Johnny himself. And then if she could be a professional, show up and get the job done and promote the movie and not stir up any kind of mess around it and have that be the main focus. If she could be a professional, she did really good in the first Aquaman movie. I was surprised that I enjoyed the movie as much as I did. I would like to see nothing more than the whole franchise continue to flourish. It's nice having some EU movies that I actually enjoy. So I wouldn't mind her sticking around as long as she can be a professional and on the personal end, if she can show some remorse and do the right thing. But what do you think, Wes? Should she walk the plank or does she get to stay?
It's a tough topic to talk about. So I personally, I'm not in favor of cancel culture. This is obviously a decision for AT&T, Warner Brothers, DC Films, whether or not she should continue with the franchise. But here's the thing that the entertainment industry keeps doing to themselves. Once you set a precedent, and then when you don't follow along with it, maybe because of, based on gender or race or something, that you look like you're a hypocrite or people are getting special treatment. And with the way that they treated Johnny Depp, and they basically, called for his head and, got him kicked off of his film franchise. And it doesn't look like he's an angel in any of this either. He's certainly, he's done some bad things too, but it's certainly coming out that it appears that she's an abuser herself, and if that's what it takes to get removed from a film in Hollywood nowadays, then she probably should be. Although me personally, I don't like cancel culture. It's up to the it's up to the company to make that decision. But the precedence has been made, so in the name of fairness, she probably should be, but not my decision.
Absolutely. We'll see how it plays out. And as things happen there, don't be surprised if you see us cover the saga here on geek-span. But moving on to our next topic, and actually still related to DC, Tom King teased images of his next unnamed project, which he describes as an insanely ambitious maxi series. Are you down for King's next mystery project, Wes?
All right, so I am not the biggest Tom King fan in the world. We know that he's currently doing Strange Adventures. I reviewed the first issue, and it was pretty good. They have some great artists on there, and it's definitely worth a look. We know that he has Batman Catwoman coming out. Looks like Batman's going to have another child, this time with Selena Kyle. Definitely not excited about that. His take on Batman is atrocious. It's abysmal. It's one of the worst I've ever read in my life. But he's got this unnamed project. The thing is, he has hinted a lot, and I do mean a lot, over the past year that he was doing something in the Watchmen universe. Am I excited for Tom King's take on an already depressed universe in the Watchmen? Absolutely not. He's tried to recreate what Alan Moore has done, in the pages of Batman. It was an absolute failure. I think it would just be even worse if you put him in the same universe that Alan Moore created. It will just highlight all of his deficiencies as a writer, as he leans on terrible tropes and just trauma theory executed at its worst level. He wants to be Alan Moore. He wants to be Frank Miller, but he's not. He's unfortunately he's Tom King. So no, I'm not excited about this. I think it's going to be awful.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I feel like I've had my fill of Tom King overall. He definitely showed us who he was and what his points are inside of comics, and they're not really for me. I don't know. I like so many of us, I deal with trauma. I have my own. We all have our own demons, so to speak. Not that we should always turn away from them. We should get help with them when we, absolutely. But for someone that's like a harp, and they just keep like slapping it, you know what I mean, with the bow, so to speak. It's just noise to me. It's just a bunch of noise, and within it, he doesn't show enough writing prowess to ever make it be more than kind of just that, just pain. I rarely ever see the beauty that he thinks he shows to people within it. I'm not interested in seeing, Batman go through a whole pregnancy thing with Catwoman. I hate to say this, but just going into the mind of it, I wouldn't even be surprised within the story if she ends up losing the baby, because that's kind of something that, Tom King would make a point. Yeah, like, let me build up all this happiness and show Batman in this new nice light, but he's got to be the Batman. He's got to be depressed. He has to have a reason to continue to be brooding. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did something like that. The Adam Strange or what Strange Tales. I read the first issue, Strange Adventures. Thank you, Wes. I read it, and I'm sure maybe they have more down the line. It wasn't a terrible beginning issue, but it wasn't any more than what I saw him do in Vision. So overall, I'm not interested in it. I don't want to see him do a maxi series. A Tom King story, the premise would have to be something that I've never heard before, or be something uber interesting, and I would need him to show that he's more than just a trauma writer in order for me to give another one of his books a chance, personally.
Right, let's see if we can turn that frown upside down, Skip. Russian Doll's co-creator Leslie Headland is reportedly developing a new female-led Star Wars series for Disney Plus. Is Headland a good fit for a galaxy far, far away?
Me personally, I don't know. I don't see anything from the previous works that would really lend to that, personally. I'm for me overall, I wish I was more excited about Star Wars than I actually am. I guess The Mandalorian season 2 is kind of the only thing that I'm really looking forward to, but I don't know. But I will tell you this, more than Tom King, I will give that project a chance. I will definitely watch it and see if it's something that I can enjoy, because I like Star Wars overall and I would like to enjoy it, but so much about the Star Wars universe right now, from the comics to the movies, with the exception of like majority of the shows, just kind of has me standoffish. But Wes, is there any chance that this could be good, do you think?
Well, by all accounts, Russian Dolls is a pretty decent show for what it is. It doesn't feel like it would translate perfectly to a good Star Wars show, but then again, you look at what the Russos did. I believe they were doing like Community before they did Captain America, and they took that like a duck to water. So you don't know how these things are going to translate. But I will say this: Kathleen Kennedy has made it her mission to transform Star Wars from an amazing sci-fi opera series that is completely engaging and has the most some of the best characters in the history of fiction, into like a, I don't know, it's just a platform to spew, to move forward like her feminist ideology and stuff. The Force is female. Leslie Headland certainly seems to fit in line with that. You go and read some of her her interviews, and she's very aware of gender. She's very aware of sexuality. She's very aware of the skin color of the people that work around her, and it's one of her priorities. And I think that that's going to translate into a very well constructed, well executed Star Wars story? No, I don't think those things are what will make a good Star Wars story. Now, if she ends up going and hiring the right people, obviously things could go very well. But I don't see any reason why it should be good. But hey, stranger things have happened, I guess.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Wes, and I hope that we get a strange delight out of the show, but that remains to be seen. We'll see how that goes. Out of the well, no, I guess we're still going to stay within the Star Wars galaxy. Some Twitter users are trying to cancel Adam Driver in response to a 2019 interview where he explains why he joined the Marine Corps following 9/11. What do you have to say to detractors of his military service?
You're all cowards. You're weak. You have no idea what this man went through. He was 18 years old. He witnessed an event that changed the course of our country. He went there with his entire life ahead of him, put it all on the line, signed up for the United States Marine Corps, and went and fought for his country because he believed in something greater than himself. He believed in protecting his fellow citizens, whether he knew them or not. That's how 9/11 affected him. What he decided to do was go and fight for his country. That is a noble service. That is something that is commendable. To try and take this man's career away, to try and say that he's something that he's not, he certainly demonstrated who he is through his actions, through his words. He's never demonstrated that he hates anybody. He only demonstrated through his action that he loves his country, that he's willing to go fight and die for the citizens of the United States of America. When we were attacked, one of the most deadly attacks in the history of the United States, the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil, to go and try and take that, his words out of context, to try and take his actions and frame them as something other than heroic, it gets in my crawl. It's disgusting behavior, and I'm not the biggest fan of Star Wars, but Adam Driver's portrayal of Kylo Ren was certainly a high point of it. He put his heart and soul into it. He's one of the better actors out there on television. He's also done some great work on movies. And before that, he was a hero in the United States Marine Corps. And we all need to remember that. People should be supporting him for the decision he made as an 18-year-old with the entire world in front of him. And he decided to go and protect each and every one of us. Job well done, Adam Driver.
Absolutely. I mean, shoot, I wish I would have asked this question because I can't come up with a better answer than that. But I echo the sentiments. First of all, thank you, Adam Driver, for your service. As always, thank you, Wes, for your service. And I don't understand. I don't understand where these people lack the empathy or the thinking skills to want to just go after people. These people literally put their lives on the line, and like when they go and they serve the country. And I feel like most of the people that have things like that to say either A, never served, or B, don't have family that have served. And if they do, C, they just can't put themselves in that position. The country, like, we literally got attacked on our own soil, and all he wanted to do was to defend his country and all of the lives that got lost that day. We're talking about innocent people that were up there just working and doing their jobs, first responders who passed away later. My grandfather passed away because of complications due to the attacks. He was a subway the rail train driver, or whatever you call it, the subway driver, and he passed away due to complications from that. It's like, I don't understand why these people are so quick to attack people who defend us and people that passed away from being attacked by cowards who snuck up on us and did it. They didn't even come to the door knocking like we want funk. They were punks. They were cowards. They hijacked planes and killed people to kill more people. And then you have people that want to defend them and go after someone who defended these people's lives. it drives me nuts. I just don't get it. I can't even, I always try to be empathetic and go into the mind of a person so I could try to understand. And no matter how much I do it, I could never understand why they want to do that. Sometimes I think they might have not been born around that time or don't remember, but I don't get it, Wes, but they all need to go away. I'm glad that people on Twitter came to his defense and didn't join in on this thing, because it's just utterly ridiculous. I'm at a loss for words. I don't get it, but thank you, Adam Driver,
I'm with
for
you,
what
brother.
you've done.
The people that can only project the worst intentions or the worst motivations on other people that they don't know just make me they disgust me, man.
Yeah,
but
utterly.
Let's move on from that one. I think we made our point, Skip.
Absolutely.
Let's get back to comics. Despite new DC Comics hitting shelves on 28 April, the next issue of their flagship title, Batman, won't arrive until June. Is June the right time for Batman 92?
I think it's a decent time. I mean, all things considered, you know, the way that everybody's been impacted by the pandemic that's going on. The comic book industry is such a small and intimate industry compared to a lot of other types of industries out here. And, you know, it's apparent that Marvel and DC and other publishers were trying to be mindful of the local comic book shops, the LCSs. So if this buys time for what LCSs that we still do have left, and to see if by that time the country as a whole, if not the world as a whole, really, you know, can start to find ways to operate safely with everything that's going on, then June might be a sweet spot where it wasn't so long ago and still soon enough for us to kind of start to get that story, because a lot of people were enjoying it. And I do enjoy how DC has kind of been seeding comics with the, you know, a comic every day, 99 cents, with majority of those stories seem to have come from the Walmart Supergiant anthology. So I think we can they're slowly starting to build back up until where we can officially launch, and especially such an anticipated book. Wes, is June a sweet spot? Is it too far? Is it too close? What are your thoughts on that?
It's perfect because DC just announced that they have new distribution that has entered the market. Of course, they've been there before, Midtown and DCBS, but it's going to be Lunar and I believe UCS distribution moving forward. So, and they're going to be doing it regionally. They have never done this before. If you try to roll out Batman next week, they would be overwhelmed. And not only that, not all the shops have had time to sign up for this, and there are a lot of shops that are still skeptical about this. It might take them a couple of weeks before they see what maybe their peers have had, what successes their peers have had, you know, going on with this program, whether or not they're ready to sign up for themselves. If you put out, you know, Batman 92 within the next 2 or 3 weeks, there are a lot of readers that wouldn't have access to it. There are a lot of retailers that would lose money not being able to sell it. So that's the perfect time. You do not want to put out Batman. You don't want to put out Dark Knight's Death Metal. Some of these big books that a lot of readers are going to be looking for. June's the right time. Let's test out the new system. Let's get it right and get as many retailers signed up as are ready by that time. And hopefully Diamond's back up as well, and everyone can get the comic book.
Yeah, that's the hope. I agree. I can definitely see it from that standpoint. So hopefully things continue to improve around the world, and for the local comic book shops and for the comic book industry, and we can get this book into our hands so people can continue to enjoy it. And then keeping it into the DC news, as I had briefly broached the subject of those comics that are getting released daily. Last week, DC officially announced a revamped DC Digital First program, and we've already seen new issues of Superman, Batman, as well as Wonder Woman. Which one would you recommend to viewers, Wes?
Absolutely, Superman by Robert Venditti. That first story was actually in Superman Giant a few weeks ago. Actually, it was probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Robert Venditti is my favorite writer in the entire industry. He certainly proves his chops on Superman. There's an interesting, villain in that one called Parasite. It's a good confrontation. It shows how smart and resourceful Superman is while he's being a hero when he takes care of Parasite. It's a great story. It looks like it's leading right into a really cool Lex Luthor story. So I couldn't be more excited for the second issue of that. I didn't enjoy the Wonder Woman story from Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor so much. I don't know. It was too meta. It was too teen meta. There was way too many selfies, and Harley Quinn just annoys me right now. Unfortunately, I only got halfway through Batman, but that story seemed really good as well. But I got to go with my man Robert Venditti and his Superman Man of Tomorrow story.
I would agree. My favorite story that I've read so far has been the Venditti Superman. And as it's been well documented here on Thinking Critical throughout the videos that I've been on and live streams I've done, I am not the biggest Superman fan. I love what Superman represents, but just never been a big fan of reading the comics as I've come to read comics through the years. But let me tell you, it was after reading Bendis's Action Comics and Bendis's Superman, it was so refreshing to get in there, have some old Superman-y, type jokes, to see a good relationship, a healthy relationship between Clark and Lois, and to see Superman get in there and be who I know him to be, show his strength, show his might, put it all on the line for the people of Metropolis and the world, and at the same time see the pain and the humanity within his own villain, still defeat him in an intelligent way too, as well as a strong way, and then still offer him help and keep his word, as he says, "Parasite, I know you're afflicted, and I promised you that I would do everything that I can to help you, and I'll keep my word." Not only that, but it was also a full story, so it consumed all of the pages. Whereas the Batman, I did enjoy it. I think I liked the Larry Hama story more than I liked the first story. I forget who the writer was, but it was split up into two different stories. The Hama story wasn't a full Batman story as we would imagine it to be, and then the first story was more of a Batman flick, but it was short, and it did have to do with the military, which I appreciated, but they kind of didn't warn me about that, so Batman ended up not actually being Bruce Wayne Batman, who we knew, although Jim Lee did draw it. So I was conflicted about the Batman one. Overall, I enjoyed it, but the Superman one was just what I needed. And if that was ongoing, I would actually buy in and read I probably still will buy it just to support comics and DC, but I would be looking forward to the next one because, oh man, Venditti Superman, keep that going, please.
There's actually a great joke in there where Superman saves Jimmy Olsen from Lois Lane's driving, and I thought that was really good. That was my favorite joke of the whole comic.
That was really good. She was like, "How did you get here so quick?" He was like, I heard you screaming from all those miles
Jimmy
away.
Screaming from across the world."
That was pretty good. Yeah. That was really good. I like that.
Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in and joining us here on geek-span today. We covered the gamut of geek culture 411. We got your movie news, some rumors. We got your comic news. Skip, you have anything else to say before we wrap this bad boy up?
Just thank you for everybody tuning in, especially those who tune in on our Twitch channel. We have a current goal of getting to 50 followers. We're currently at 40. So anybody that has a Twitch account or Amazon Prime account, please, we welcome you to come in, follow us on there. And I've been reading comics on there. I just finished reading Jonathan Hickman, his Ultimate series, which was pretty solid. I'm going to pick another story and I'm going to read through that trade. So it's more or less a trade every time I tune in. So if you want to have a full story read to you, please join us over there. We would really appreciate it, and continue to join us in the Discord. It's a fun place to continue our comic book chat and keep up on news as you guys are waiting for geek-span. So thank you very much, everybody.
There are links to both the Discord server and the Twitch channel in the video description below. And let Skip know you want him to read Donny Cates' Thanos Wins. That should be the next one, buddy.
You know what? It's official. Come watch me read Thanos Wins. It'll be there live on the Twitch channel.
All right, later, buddy.
Later.